All right, we are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Girl Decoded virtual book tour. Today is a super exciting day because the book launched yesterday. And so I thought we'd give you an update on how it went. So first of all, if you don't know me, I'm Rana Kaliouby, co-founder and CEO of Affectiva and author of Girl Decoded. And here with me today are my two kids, Jana. Say hi, Jana.
Hi, everyone.
And Adam.
Hi.
Yeah, so exciting day, huh?
Yes.
Yep.
Super exciting. So we had a virtual book launch. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so yesterday the book launched. Let's see. Look. If you haven't gotten your version, your copy, you can order it online, and you can also download the ebook or the audiobook, which I narrated in my own voice. Yeah, so we had a virtual book launch party yesterday, which was really awesome. It was on Zoom, of course, as everything is these days. And we had about 100 or so people tune in from around the world, and it was very personal and authentic. We had the Affectiva team, we had Penguin Random House and the book publishing team, the publicity agency, our PR agency. We had family and very close friends join, and it was just really fun. Both my parents were able to join, and my sister and my nieces, which they wouldn't have, I guess, if this were an in-person book launch party. So what did you guys think of it?
I really liked how everybody got to ask a bunch of questions, and it was like a Q&A.
Yeah, that was fun. So we basically opened it up with me saying a few words, and we had like a slideshow with all sorts of pictures, and then a few people said a few words, and then we opened the floor up, and people chimed in. It was really nice.
Yeah, I think it was really nice to hear from a variety of perspectives. I know it's just been like such an amazing journey, and to hear the perspective of people who I didn't even know was on the journey was really, really exciting and really cool to see.
Yeah, one of the things that I also thought, we kind of try to be creative and playful with it. So we had a virtual goodie bag for everybody who was able to join in. So that included things like, as you know, I'm a terrible cook, but I still included my favorite Moroccan tagine recipe. I did a little bit of a Zumba sequence, which is important to me. I try to prioritize some time for self-care. And we had a playlist. What do you think of my playlist, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it would be the songs I would choose, but it's definitely a great playlist. So definitely try to find it if you can.
Yeah, it's called Girl Decoded on Spotify and Apple Music. Yeah, so I think the party was just such a success. It was I felt so moved, and I was really grateful that we were able to bring all these people together. We wouldn't have been able to do that, I guess, if we had done the party in Boston, a much smaller group and different group of people.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think Adam and I have been really involved with the book launch this year, and I don't know if that would have been the case had we not all been at home. But as you can see, we're currently in our kitchen, and that's kind of where we've been doing a lot of these virtual book tour dates. And I just think it's been really cool for both of us to kind of get involved with that process and help moderate, but also do a really fun, it's just been really fun getting to see her doing all these different podcasts. We can just listen in while we're doing work.
Yeah, these four guys.
We call ourselves
the tech support
crew
team,
sometimes.
Do you want to move in?
Yeah, I can.
People can
see better. Yeah.
So one of the kind of questions I've been getting a lot is, how has this experience been kind of writing this book? It's my first book, and I really didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I took this on. But I tell these kids, one of my favorite podcasts actually is, and the episode is by Ariana Huffington, and she talks about how you embark on a journey without attaching to outcomes. And I feel that that's been so true in many aspects of my life. And especially with the book, I took this on not knowing what it would take to write a book, what it takes to publish a book. But I've learned a lot, and the idea morphed and pivoted too. So when I started over 3 years ago, it was mostly going to be about artificial emotional intelligence and what are the applications and how do you build it and what are the ethical questions and considerations. But over time, it's really morphed into a memoir. And there's a lot of my personal journey and my personal transformation in it. So it's been, quite the journey of self-discovery. For you guys, how has it been like to be part of that experience?
I think it's really inspiring how you find the time to write a book and with everything else going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like Adam saying, Mom, you're too busy.
Yeah, personally, I just think of like the personal growth that I've seen you come on, like writing the book. I think my mom has often struggled with like being open with her emotions, and this book is really like a testament and a tribute to how far she's come in that regard. And I think that's really, really powerful. And I really, really love that. I also think the book kind of shows just how important it is in and of itself to really kind of like say yes to all the opportunities you possibly can, because you really never know the outcome. And I think that's definitely something we're seeing all around us today. Nobody could have imagined the current pandemic, but it's kind of just about finding small silver linings for yourself to help you keep going at such uncertain times.
Yeah, we actually celebrated yesterday with our 2 boarders who are staying with us as well. So that was really special, having them with us. That was really cool. So you've both read the book. What are your favorite parts?
Well, my favorite part is the part where I'm born.
Of course, right? It's my favorite part too.
My least favorite part is actually probably when I'm born. I think it's so weird, the experience of like reading about your own birth. That's definitely just nothing I ever expected to read. But my favorite part of the book is probably when my mom talks about the move to Boston. I think it's a chapter called My Family in America or something.
The new American family.
And I really love that chapter because I think it reflects a lot of the familial values we took on upon moving to Boston, and is kind of like a small window into the growth we've all had since coming here. So
I would actually like to
maybe we can read an excerpt from
an excerpt.
that little if we can find it.
New American Family. Okay, let's start with here.
Maybe we can read like a small, like 2 lines.
Part. Yeah. Okay. I think the part, so this is basically, we moved here. I'm about to be interviewed for my citizenship in 2016. And I talk a little bit about that and then our transition to being American citizens, which is very timely, of course, with the global pandemic. People are obviously not traveling as much. And, there's a lot of conversation around immigration as well. So, all right, so I'll start and maybe you guys can chime in.
Sounds good.
My naturalization interview was scheduled for May 18th, 2016, 1 month before the official ceremony for swearing in new citizens. I arrived early for my appointment and was assigned to an immigration officer, a young man who was stern and businesslike. First, he asked me to write a simple English sentence, and then I was asked to answer a question in English, which was obviously not a problem for me. Then came the questions about American history and government. I was so nervous. I don't remember which questions he asked, but I passed with flying colors. And then came the personal questions, asking me to provide proof that I am of good moral character, whether I have committed a serious crime in the past 5 years, whether or not I have given false testimony about my immigration, and whether or not I have used drugs or violated the controlled substance law. After the immigration officer asked me a litany of questions challenging my character, I blurted out, I'm actually a really good human being. My biggest sin is that I eat too much chocolate. I had just broken a cardinal rule of how to behave at the naturalization interview. I had made a joke, and that is ill-advised. The immigration officers literally have your life in their hands. They can stamp your card rejected. And if so, that's pretty much that. I held my breath nervously, wishing I could take my comment back. And a second later, he laughed, and my application was approved. I had been deemed worthy of U.S. citizenship. I felt a rush of relief and gratitude. How about you guys read this part?
My kids had lived in the United States on and off for years. Adam again was born here, so the move to Boston as our permanent home was not difficult for them. They had little to adjust to. They were fluent in English and knew the area well, and we already had friends from work and the MIT Media Lab. Jana and Adam are intellectually curious. They welcome meeting new people and learning about others, and so they just sort of fit in.
Nevertheless, life in the United States is vastly different from how life would have been for us in Egypt. I never would have become the independent, self-sufficient woman I am now in Egypt. There, we would have had the support of a family, as well as a driver, a full-time housekeeper, maybe a cook. As a single mom living in the suburbs, I have none of those things. I spend a good deal of time schlepping my kids around, like any other suburban mom. We don't have a full-time housekeeper. On most days, the kids make their own beds, pick up their clothes, and clean up after themselves in the kitchen. They are learning to be independent, as well, and that's a good thing. Cooking, we all chip in. Adam has been making his own breakfast since he was 8, and prefers his breakfast to mine.
Do you still prefer your breakfast to mine?
Yeah.
Dude, I make amazing eggs.
So we're actually getting a number of questions from the audience, which is great. So keep them coming if you're out there and listening. The first question is from Erica Blake. She loves how you integrate your children, and she just listened to the Tim Ferriss podcast. By the way, if you haven't done that, it aired yesterday, so please go check it out.
The conversation with Tim, by the way, was awesome. We were scheduled to have it live at South by Southwest in Austin, but of course South by got canceled, and we ended up doing it just virtually. But we recorded the video, and the video is available for you guys to watch. And it was the very first day I was kind of working from home and isolating. And I didn't really have my setup figured out. So it's very real and very raw. The conversation is very real. So I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, so she's wondering, she listened to your story about how you pitched in Silicon Valley with a 6-month-old Adam. Weird. And so she's wondering, how do you balance family and business?
So the story Erica is referencing is when Adam was born, we were starting Affectiva, and we, Ross Picard, my co-founder, and I went on a kind of pitch show in the Bay Area, the Sand Hill Road Show. And we had a lot of meetings lined up with investors. Adam was about 6 months old, so he had to tag along. And I had lined up a babysitter to take care of him. But one of the days, basically, she got sick, and she called me in the morning, and she was like, "Oh, I can't really see him, take care of him." So we had two options. We could cancel the investor meetings, which we had lined up for months, and these guys are super busy, or we just went ahead and brought Adam along. And so in one of these meetings, I walked in with Adam in the car seat, and I asked this really sweet young woman who was sitting at the front desk, and I said, "Hey, can you take care of Adam, my little baby, while I pitch?" And I just prayed to the universe that he didn't really make a big fuss, but you were great. You were awesome. So yeah, the way I integrated is, because I don't think it's really about balance, but it's about blending everything and just really being clear on your priorities and what matters. And for me, it's, it's a handful of things that I really care about and make time for. And yeah, I bring my whole self to work. So everybody in the office knows about my kids. They show up in all sorts of contexts and places, and they know about Affectiva too. They often when I'm schlepping them, I'm on conference calls, and they will give me a lot of business advice. Like, "Mom, you shouldn't have said what you said on this call. That was really mean." So they keep me honest.
So the next question is from Haraj Mikhalian. He's asking, will you be translating the book to Arabic?
I would really hope so. Obviously, I grew up in the Middle East. I'm Egyptian American, and that is really important to me, that it's accessible to that population. So we're working on it.
So I guess the answer is inshallah.
Inshallah, yeah, exactly. And all of you out there in the Middle East, happy Ramadan. It's moon sighting tonight, and we'll find out if Ramadan's tomorrow or Friday, inshallah.
So the next question is from Kaliouby, who's actually your sister. And she says that both your parents are actually watching this virtual book tour, one in Egypt and the other one from the UAE. Do you think the virtual book tour, due to the coronavirus pandemic, turned out to be better than an on-ground one?
First of all, hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Love you both, and so grateful. I think actually the silver lining is that, for example, I was going to be in New York for this book launch, and you were going to be at school, so you were going to miss all of this. And my mom was going to be here to take care of the kids while I travel for this book tour, and she would have missed out on it too. And of course, my dad is in Abu Dhabi. My two sisters are in Cairo. And I just feel like they've been such a core part of this book launch and book experience. So in a way, yeah, the virtual book launch and the whole virtual book kind of experience has allowed me to reach a much broader audience. Losing my voice, doing a lot of talking. But one example is maybe water.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm good.
Not mine.
Can you get me this bottle?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll grab some water.
Let's see if this will work without like.
But even as I'm thinking about the virtual book tour, I think it's been really cool to just read through some of everybody's comments. And we got a lot of like, hi from India, hi from Egypt, hi from all over the world. And I think that's just so powerful. And I never expected that these book tours would have such a far-reaching impact. So that's definitely something that I think that's really great that's come out of this virtual book tour in my perspective.
How about you? You've been doing a lot of the tech support.
Me.
Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's been really fun. Like helping her and seeing all the other the audience she gets to reach online. For example, she did like a book speech like for Bulgaria.
Yeah, for Bulgarian women.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool because if the coronavirus had not happened, she would not be able to give that speech to them, and so it just like I think it's been kind of easier to like spread your story all over the world.
Yeah, so I'm very grateful to that.
So next we'd like to do a quick shout out to Wael Amin, who's our dad. He's also tuning in.
Oh, cool.
Can you share a little bit about how he's in the book?
Oh my God, yeah. Hi, Wael. So Wael is my ex, and he's Jana and Adam's dad. He lives in Cairo with his awesome wife, Dina. Hi, Dina, if you're tuned in as well. I am forever grateful for Wael. If you read the book, you will see how, we met when I was 19. He was like 22 or whatever, so we were really young. He was my first date, and we ended up getting married. And he has been, to his credit, incredibly supportive of my career. When I got the scholarship to go study at Cambridge, both his family, and it was just a year into our marriage, both his family and my family were kind of concerned about me kind of leaving to the UK and studying and being abroad and away from him and the rest of my family. And to his credit, he said, and it was actually right around September 11th, so there was a lot of concern about Muslims traveling, and there was just a lot of political kind of safety concerns. And Wael, to his credit, said, you know what, if you don't do this right now, you'll never do it. Go. And and he was very super supportive. And he's always been, a friend and a mentor and an advisor and a great dad. So, and he's definitely in the book. Yeah. So thank you, Wael.
So now that it's been 3 years of writing this book, what are kind of some highlights that you look back on through this experience and journey?
I think the highlight for me, first of all, like just crystallizing how passionate I am about artificial emotional intelligence and the potential that this technology can bring to the world. So I think we are in the early days of all of this, and especially with COVID, there's so much potential to apply this in virtual connections and telehealth and mental health and online learning. And so I am not done. I feel super motivated and energized to get the word out and bring more people on board on this mission. But I also realized in writing the book that my unusual path, growing up in the Middle East and ending up in the US as a tech CEO, I hope that this story resonates with a lot of people out there and inspires a lot of people. So my feeling is that we launched the book yesterday. It's now out in the world, but it's only the beginning. And I don't really know the beginning of what, but I feel like it's a new journey, and I'm going to embark on it without attaching to an outcome. And I hope you all join me on it.
Yeah, definitely. So the next question is from Louis Davis. The question is, what's next now that you've launched the book? And what's next for Affectiva? And I think those questions are really interrelated too. So I'm excited to hear your answer.
Yeah, I think, again, now that the book is out, I think there's a lot of opportunity to engage people in various ways. So, for example, there's a big component of the book that steps through all the different use cases of the technology. And so I look forward to kind of, what's the word? Like just getting these use cases out and kind of highlighting the amazing work that the Affectiva team is doing to build these technologies. I've also, if you've been following along with the virtual book tour, I've been interviewing, a number of people who I am huge fans of, and their work is very synergistic with mine. So Dan Gilbert, who's the professor of psychology at Harvard University, he's been studying happiness for many years, and he recently shifted his attention to studying human conversation, which is so fascinating to me. And of course, emotion AI has a lot of applicability there. So that was an amazing kind of fireside conversation. I also interviewed Adam Shire, who's the co-founder of Siri. And again, that was really, so I look forward to bringing more guests and kind of picking their brains. And so if you have any ideas on who I should be speaking to, please share, and we'll try to make it happen. And also, if you have any conversations or topics that you think I should cover. So I'm definitely interested in kind of doing a deep dive around AI ethics, something that we care about, including bias and mitigating bias and all of that. Women leadership, that's something that I'm very kind of excited and also passionate about. So
that's also one of the really cool things about the book. It's blurred by a number of really awesome people. If you'd like to share who it's blurred by.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we can
again,
show you the
people
blurb.
People, again, who I'm extremely, extremely kind of humbled and grateful that they took time to read the book. So Tory Burch, who, in addition, of course, to her Tory Burch brand, runs the Tory Burch Foundation, which supports women founders and women leaders. And I love the work she does around that. She's also all about embracing ambition, and I'm about embracing emotion. And I think the two really go together. So Arianna Huffington, who, as I said, I'm a huge fan of her work and her book. Adam Grant, incredible organizational behaviorist and multiple, best-selling author. Kevin Kelly, who's a futurist, Dan Gilbert. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I've been super fortunate that these early readers, took time to read and share their thoughts about the book.
Yeah, and I think what's really so cool is that all these people have very different specialties and very different life experiences, and yet this book resonates with all of them. And so hopefully, I hope that it resonates with all of you as well. So next, we have actually a really fun question from Brian David. So Adam, I'm going to have you answer this one first, and then it's from me.
Sure.
So he says he's speechless on how great we are. Is that fun? And he's asking, what are our career ambitions? Do you want to go first?
Oh, career ambitions, sure. So I want to be a robotic engineer and build an island of robots.
Tell us more about this island of robots. Are they going to be social robots? Are they going to have emotion AI?
Robots, yeah.
Awesome. Are they going to allow humans to be on the island?
Only a bit.
Only a bit.
Wow. So Adam is definitely more on the technology side than I am.
I tried, by the way. I tried. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm really interested in the social sciences and studying gender in the Middle East and gender in Islam. And so I hope to have some sort of role in changing the narrative around Muslim women as my career. But yeah, thank you so much for that question. Yeah, so Mom, can you help us slowly wrap up by telling us like some of what was the hardest thing about writing the book?
Honestly, the hardest thing about writing the book was I write very openly about my personal experience and reconciling kind of this nice Egyptian girl and everything I love about her with kind of my new identity as a tech CEO and a leader and an AI innovator and a single mom of two living in the United States. There are a lot of cultural differences and societal norms that are quite different. And some of it has been deeply ingrained in my brain. And I think as a family, we are struggling through that. Just trying to really converge on what aspects of our Egyptian and Muslim identity do we love and what aspects of being American citizens that we love, and just bringing the two together.
Yeah, so finally, this is a question that I hope each one of us can answer. Maybe Adam, you can start, is what do you hope people reading the book get out of it?
I hope people reading the book can actually resonate with her story and kind of find their own voice and speak up for themselves and go against their society, their cultural norms.
Yeah, I think adding on to Adam, I personally really loved hearing about the amount of grit and passion that really shines through this book. And so I hope that just the way it impacted me and made me more excited about following through with my own passions, I hope it impacts all of you in the same way.
And I'll go last. I'm seeing a note here from Nisreen. Hi from Egypt. I'm watching this with my 9 years old daughter, and we're looking forward to read your book. Go on. And this is a perfect segue for what I would love people to get out of this book, especially young people. I just hope it inspires and it motivates and gives each of you just a little bit more ammo to go do whatever you want to do. So thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be trying to do a couple more events over the next months. So stay tuned. Bye.
Studio.